Hello, and welcome to Fire Emblem 15 ETC playthrough. I'm your Gordon Captain, and today we're going to be going over Alms part. So you may notice that I have a lot of money. What I did is I went into Duma Tower and broke some pots a bunch of times to grind money, and this is the end result. I got some rapiers, got a rapier by converting silver into gold. This actually doesn't take very long to grinding because the pots in Duma Tower have 20 silver pieces in them, so you can instantly purge some very, very powerful items for Alm. Alms at the start of Act 4 is actually fairly difficult if you don't have these items, so giving him these items makes it a lot easier. It's the only hard part of the game for Alms route, other than the castle, the map itself. So we're going to be sending the Killer Bow over to Alms route, another Killer Bow, and a 3-star Rapier. The Rapier is a good investment because 110 out of 182 enemies in Alms route are either witches who die to any weapon or are weak to the rapier. And then the second Killer Bow and the first Killer Bow will be sent to Alms route because we have 2 units who really like the Killer Bow. The one important thing to note is that does mean that we don't have a Killer Bow for Leon for Duma Tower. However, we do have an Iron Bow in Alm's inventory, which will be sent over to Celica's convoy to be made into a Killer Bow. Now it's time to do the thing that I've been putting off, which is promoting Alm and Clive. So Alm's promotion is actually more important than Clive's promotion because Alm's stats are really good when he's promoted, whereas Clive gets a decent amount of stats when he promotes normally, although my Clive got extremely lucky levels, so he's only going to get a few. What a common trend you'll find is that promotions and echoes get you to slightly blessed bases, and so you have to actually be significantly blessed before you get above class bases. So Clive gets 1 experience fountain, and second 2 experience fountains is enough to promote Clive to Gold Knight. Gold Knight has 2 very, very important characteristics about it. The first is that it has 9 movement. And the second is that it has pretty good bulk. So Clive's bulk is kind of iffy, as is Matilda's bulk, for example. But with Gold Knight promotions, he's going to get a good amount of bulk improvement on top of Paladin bases. And he's actually going to be able to fight enemy Armor Knights in the upcoming map, which non-Paladin Clive would stand no chance. Which Paladin Clive would stand no chance against. Alm gets ridiculously awesome promotion bonuses, and it's one of the reasons people like sandbag Alm before Act 4 is because Alm's promotion bonuses get him really good stats. Alm also gets to use a Killer Bow with his promotion bonuses, which are really sick, since I just forged a Killer Bow for Alm. And when Cliff promotes back down into Archer, he's going to need the Killer Bow that Alm uses. And so Alm has nice synergy since he gets to use the rapier that Cliff was previously using. So last thing to do is sell the steel sword that we've been hoarding and forge a extra star on the Rider's Bane on the Steel Lance. A 5-star Steel Lance has the advantage that it now gets to have 10 critical hit, which means that Clive will be able to hit a lot more benchmarks that he previously wouldn't be able to. And critical hit is really nice, actually, on the Steel Lance. Now it's on to the border battle. So, the border battle is a fairly simple, straightforward map. There are a lot of enemies on this map, and you have to get a lot of crits if you want to beat them really quickly. You don't need to critical every enemy, though. You have backup units that can kill in case of no criticals. But the issue is that if you don't get enough criticals you won't be able to kill every single enemy. So while you can miss most criticals, you can't miss all of them. That's one of the reasons why having 10 crit on the Steel Lance is so nice, and having 15 crit on the Rapier is so nice. It allows you to get lucky crits on enemies that otherwise you don't have much critical hit against. So on the top side, one of their main objectives is to attack the one heal tile. There is one heal tile on this map, which means that similar way to 3-5, where I had to block the heal tile with Claire in order to force every enemy to be aggressive. Similarly, we're going to try to block a heal tile with Alm to force every enemy to be aggressive. In order to do that, though, we have to clear the way of all these Arcanists. Now, Arcanists are pretty tough, and the only units that can realistically counter them are Alm and Python. Alm's bulk is actually bad enough that you don't really want to rely on Alm, so it's Python time. This map is very enemy phase oriented, which is somewhat surprising given the fact that it's a route map and SOV, but the power level of your units have just gone through the roof over the course of this map. So even though normally you'd like, oh man, enemy quality is really high in this game, the existence of all these extremely powerful new pieces of equipment, along with the extremely powerful promotions we've just received, means that player units have gotten significantly stronger. And even though these Armor Knights would like completely crush my units in, say, 3-6, I'm not there anymore, so my units just crush these guys. So there I demonstrate that Matilda could have targeted the sniper that Clive killed, but Matilda, of course, wasn't necessary. Sort of the classic Matilda problem. Claire gets a nice little snags a kill. Claire is continuing her trend of doing one small little useful thing every map. It's like she's the best unit. Or at least she tries to be the best unit. She doesn't always succeed, but she definitely tries. So Matilda picks up a kill that she would have picked up would have been picked up by a different unit. Instead, Tobin fails to critical, so Gluthier gets this kill. You can tell sort of the basic principle of this map is that you may not necessarily have every individual strategy be reliable, and you may not have a backup for every single possible critical miss, or every single possible failure, but you have a backup for most failures, and most of the time will be able to make up any individual failure. So importantly, you heal Clive here so he stays alive. And we're going to send Alm to the top of the heal tile. With Alm at the top of the heal tile, this means, again, as I said, that enemies will be aggressive. And with aggressive enemies, along with a bunch of crits, we won't necessarily have to go. This enemy phase upcoming is not precarious at all, because every unit has enough HP to survive. The one kind of precarious thing is getting Alm to hit enough of these killer bow hits to kill all these stupid paladins. Clive's bulk is high enough that he can survive 5 Armor Knight attacks after 1 physic. So as long as he crit one of the Armor Knights before the previous turn, he would have been fine. So now it's just a cleanup phase. One of the goals here is EXP distribution. There's one big benchmark that you have to hit with your male mages is you really want them to have 13 attack before Regal falls, so that you cannot die. So that the enemy Barons die in 1 hit plus 1 Excalibur critical. The other option is to actually have 13 attack Mage Gray, which is slightly more likely, but it's kind of hard to train Mage Gray. And now for the final part. So you need to crit Berkut on your first try, which if he doesn't get crit, you have to reset, reroll. And other than needing 1 critical hit on Berkut, this enemy phase is completely reliable. The enemies can only attack from a plane tile, and so you will not need to reroll for anything other than Justice crit on Berkut. And since the Armor Knight on top is aggressive because of Alm's positioning, Cliff is perfectly capable of getting all of the combats he needs. And that was Border Battle, cleared in 3 turns. I'll see you guys next time for the legendary streak of Nui Baba's Abode. Bye.